Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Launch, favorites podcast, favorites channel, favorites everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the March on NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course pandasubs.com, discount code TDL for 35% off. And of course, we got Dogs Media Network supporting us, and check out everything that's over there at College Football Dogs. All right, Matt. So today we're doing some more undrafted free agents. Probably the last draft picks we're gonna do. I don't know how many. I mean, it's getting too deep. Yeah, it's getting too deep now. So go ahead.
I was gonna say we're getting too deep for even like the big film junkies. Like right now, we're getting way down the depth chart at this point. But it's what it is.
Yeah, it's gonna be go back to NFL film pretty soon here, guys. So be on the lookout for that. Also, check out all the membership stuff. If you want to look at draft picks, got a lot of stuff on the draft picks up there. A lot of the stuff that they're doing on the other picks in the memberships. Go ahead and check that out as well. Also, I do want to shout out. We got our merch up as well. So go to Bonfire Tape Don't Lie. You get some cool merch there. I'll put that in the video. You probably saw it at the beginning already, but make sure you guys go there, check out some merch, and support the channel. We got one person bought something, so I appreciate that guy. So we got one person, so let's get some more. We got all these listeners. Let's get some more people supporting the channel that way. All right. So we're doing. I got Andrew Coker and Raymel Keyton from Tennessee. Right. I think these guys might have a chance to sneak up the football team. There's spots for them a little bit. Tackle is kind of open, and so is wide receiver. So we did Tulu Griffin last week, and we're gonna do some Raymel Keyton and check him out. We're gonna do some Andrew Coker. Of course, there's OTAs. So nothing really came out of OTAs that I noticed. I mean, I guess the defense won the day that was out there. I don't know. I guess none of the quarterbacks were that impressive that day, and it's still supposedly neck and neck according to them, but we'll see how that goes.
I would kind of hope it'd be neck and neck at this point. Like we are not a couple months away from training camp. If one guy was pulling away, it means that probably means more than that the other guy's doing terrible at this point. So yeah, I mean, kind of about what we'd expect. The one news or the one kind of info that I saw like a little bit that was floating around was like they're using Brock Bowers like in a lot of ways. I think someone said like they're putting him in the backfield a little bit, which I think is good to see. I think both of us talked about like that'd be the biggest thing of like, are they going to be, is Luke Getsy going to be creative enough in the offense to be able to really use this guy? And I think hearing that they're doing that already is a good sign of what's to come. And hopefully too, like that he's like picking it up and that they're able to, throw a lot at him at this point too, mentally. So I think that was probably one of my biggest takeaways from just from the little tea leaves that we've been getting and whatnot. So the biggest positive, or one of the bigger positive news for me, at least, that they're finding creative ways and taking a little bit of page out of Georgia's playbook from what they did in college.
Yeah. I mean, it's important for that to happen. It was important for him to try to mix it up, try to figure something out, because he's a weapon. And that was good to hear. It was trying to use him in different ways, put him in different spots, get him, have him touching the football, running the football. All those things should be good. And you got to figure out a way to get him the football. And I think Luke Getsy's going to do that. So that's good news to hear, though. I mean, you're hearing some positive things. It's just interesting, before we never got any type of on-field work, but I guess we're getting some on-field work in OTAs to kind of get an idea of what the team's going to look like in offense. Defense had a really good day on the OTA. The one day that was open to teams, defense had a good day. Jack Jones had some comments about him playing corner out there. But the defense, I do expect it to be pretty good. A lot of Rays fans are still low on the defense. I don't know why. It's the craziest thing. I just, the confidence in Raiders fans. You guys just watch too much PFF over there. You guys need to come back to earth. And it's probably our fault. This is our fault, Matt. I really feel like it. The comments that I get about, feeling good about the defense going to the year, I feel like this is my fault for this happening. Just, because there's always a fan of the show like, oh, but they play backups. I get it, man. But we used to play Nick Mullins and he would put up 34. So
yeah. I feel like are you saying like people are less confident in the defense than normal?
They're throwing all these analytics at me and stuff.
I mean, I feel like part of it's just being scorned from years past and whatnot, and having
know.
those few glimpses and then coming back down. But I mean, the funny thing about that argument to me is like, oh, people like want to point to it being like, oh, just the second half of the year. Like, I felt like the defense was pretty damn good all year. I mean, we sat here several times and said like the defense is not the problem in the beginning half of the year when Josh McDaniels was around. And I know the numbers got worse when they towards the end of the game when the defense had to keep coming up with stop after stop. But I felt like for the most part, like the defense as a whole for the entire year played well. And I do like Jack Jones. I know it's one of those things like, what do you expect him to say? And I like that he has a little bit of edge to him. And I like that he's already like, oh yeah, I'm a cornerback one, because that's a position you have to have confidence in. You cannot be out there like wavering and whatnot. And so I kind of like that little bit, him showing a little bit of the dog in himself and whatnot, and being like, yeah, I already am a number one corner. So I like to hear it. But the other piece of news is the Garoppolo contract comes off the books, and I would still like them to go after a guy like Stephon Gilmore or Steven Nelson at this point in the game.
Yeah, I mean that's the topic we talk about. I mean, there's 41 million now open in cap space they have. I saw. So there's some. I mean, the probably the last hole on defense would be getting a veteran corner, and but 41 million I feel like is a lot of money. I mean, I don't feel like they really needed that to get one of these veterans. I feel like these guys are not going to come in for more than 4 million, right? I mean, you're gonna give somebody right now like $15 million. That'd be crazy to me. So, but they do have room to give some guys some extensions. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see. Maybe they do some crazy things, like maybe get Devontae an extension. They have the money to do that. Crosby already got his money. Maybe if they like Kuntz's leadership, they're trying to find a way to get him paid before he, maybe they see something in camp and they really like his development. They might want to try to pay him now. There's things like that are out there, but now they do have the money that maybe they can get two corners if they really want to.
Yeah, almost play your luck and just play the odds that maybe one of them hits. But the one extension that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about, besides myself, that I think could surprise people, Trevon Moehrig. Like, we look at what Moehrig's done. Like, I know he had the bad sophomore year, had a good year last year. Like, especially if he's not going to be like super expensive, which I don't think he could. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Trevon Moehrig's commanding a ton of money if he were to hit the open market. But like, he's a guy that I could see like a lot of people maybe not expecting as much. Maybe they expect them to prioritize a guy like Malcolm Kuntz, who again had a really good year at the second half last year. Maybe Nate Hobbs, but I could see Moehrig being the first guy that they end up bringing back, especially with Marcus Epps being a free agent next year too. I wanted to secure at least one of those guys. So I feel like he could be one of the guys that next few weeks to a month or so, whatever it happens, that he might be in getting a nice raise from that 41 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to point out, because to be honest, I mean, he's played 3 seasons now. He's played 2 good ones, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's obviously some upside there. We got 2 good seasons from him. The first season he was learning a different defense, and the second year he looks like he's really comfortable with it. They had that Chiefs game. They're unsung heroes, right? Because in the safety position, they don't make it. You don't see them make plays, but he had a big deal of making Patrick Mahomes go different places, right, and hold the football longer than he wanted to, which led to them getting some pressure and getting some sacks. And it's kind of something that you only see if you're a guy watching film and scouting your football team. So that's a good call, man, because that could happen. I mean, if you get, safeties are cheap right now. I don't know how much safeties we're getting in the market, but they're pretty damn cheap. You get them for like 11 million, 12 million, something like that. It will work out, help the team out.
And if he was like willing to do that, like or if they were able to only give him that, I feel like he'd be like willing to take it. Because again, I think most top safeties, I mean, I know there's probably one guy that I'm forgetting that's gonna throw this off, but I feel like it's usually around like the best safeties are usually like 14, 15 million, not terribly expensive. We're not talking like pass rushers who are getting 20s and in the 20s nowadays. And I mean Christian Wilkins, it's 27, 29, something like that, something absurd. So safety is not exactly a high value or a high demand position from a money standpoint. So I feel like that could be another reason why he gets a extension, because it's not an insane amount of cash.
Yeah, very true. Very true. All right, man. So enough of the OTAs here. Pretty much it's really all the updates in cap space. Now we're going to get into the film. We got Andrew Coker and we got Raymel Keyton. Now, I mean, this film's not gonna be that long, guys, because one thing is happening. We're getting flagged for broadcast, so just bear with us here. We're almost past the broadcast part of this where we're getting flagged. I'm sure the Tulu Griffin breakdown probably made no sense to anybody when they watched it, because I had to take out like all the deep balls because they were gonna flag us for monetization. So yeah, so it's gonna be a little shorter today, but I mean, these are undrafted guys that we're looking at, so we just get a quick look at some of these guys. We're doing Raymel Keyton. I know we both watched him. I feel like he is a one type of guy, like he can run downfield, and I think that's really what I felt. But what were your thoughts?
I was gonna say he does two things really well: win at the line of scrimmage and run curl routes. Like he does hit the brakes like pretty damn well, and I like that he works back to the ball. I don't know if you have one of the clips where he worked like 5 yards back to the ball, which was a little excessive, but but like he does those two things well, and I feel like he's a high effort guy. Like where like, that's the thing that's going to matter when you're talking about your 4th, 5th, 6th receiver on the roster. Like those are the things like Christian Wilkins last year. Christian Wilkerson. I already screwed that up. Threw that up once. Like when we look back at his preseason, like not only did he make a handful of catches, but he also blocked his ass off. And I feel like Keyton can do that a little bit too. And that was one thing that stood out to me. But the releases off the line of scrimmage were really nice. Like I don't think he said. I think you haven't watched the Florida game. Like that game, he was cooking some dudes off the line and was just winning purely with his ability to win at the line of scrimmage and beat press coverage. Even beat Terrion Arnold a few times. He gave him some trouble. So.
Yeah. Against Pressman, he wins a lot. I mean, Kwame Lassiter was having a bad day against him, but he was just lucky, and it's probably why he got drafted so high, much higher, that Joe Milton didn't throw to him. Because if Joe Milton just kept throwing to that side, I mean, I don't know if Kwame Lassiter is a 4th-round pick, because you just see how slow he is. Because he was just blowing past him. He'd win and just blow past him, right? And it was pretty consistent. And he didn't get any targets that game, but he was wide open the whole game. So like he really he does, and since he can win off the line of scrimmage, he could be like like I said early on, he could be like a one-dimensional guy where he wins up the line, runs a deep post, you just hit him on a deep post, and he makes a big play until he figures out how to be more nuancey with route running. I don't think he's the most nuanced guy, but he just got to work on that. But I feel like he has the wiggle though, but it just wasn't. They weren't asked to do anything of route running in Tennessee anyway, so it's hard to decipher a little bit.
Yeah, the one thing I'm curious about, like I felt like when I watched him, like he didn't have great long speed. Like there's like a couple plays where like it seemed like 10, 20 yards into the route, he'd kind of like die off and like just almost like hit a wall. Like there's one ball that's in my mind. I think it was against Florida where he wins off the line of scrimmage and has a nice little burst. And then he like hits like the 20-yard mark and just dies, and Milton overthrows him. Milton overthrew him a lot of people. But it was like there wasn't that like 2nd or 3rd gear to really like go up and be a true deep threat. Which again, if you don't have a huge route tree, that's going to be one of his issues going when it comes to making the team. So I'm curious what you thought about his long speed.
It's interesting because when you say that, both the corners I watched him against don't have long speed. So it's like Terrion Arnold and Kwame Lassiter. Yeah. Right, so he was running past Lassiter, right? But Lassiter ran a 4.6 twice. I mean, he ran it at his right? You know what I mean? So since he ran at 4.6, he's just running past him. I see like maybe a 4.47 maybe type of thing, right? He's not the fastest guy, but I think since he's long and he does a pretty good job of tracking the ball in the air for the most part, for what I saw. So I think that's what it is. It's will he like run past like some of the better corners in the NFL? Probably not all the time, but not every quarter runs a 4.4 out here. So
it's like fast enough, but not like a trait that you can rely on.
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. Which you think about like why he didn't get drafted, because one is that offense. And Jalen Hyatt probably scared everybody because I don't know what he did last year. And then it's just it has to do with that. I mean, it kind of feel like I can understand why he didn't get drafted, but But what about Coker?
Coker, I mean, I think one of the biggest things for him is he's pretty good in pass pro. He had a few nice reps. Still has a few things he can work on in that part. But yeah, like that's, I feel like his kind of biggest calling card and why he's even getting a shot. And when we look at, like you talked about, the tackle depth, not exactly great, not exactly a ton of options there. We even have some question marks at right tackle, even though I think Thayer Munford's going to win that job no matter what. But I think, when we talk about guys that have a chance to make the team, and with Andrew Coker, his biggest competitive advantage is he's pretty damn good in pass pro, and he can play left or right. Played left for like half the season and then switched to right this past year at TCU. But against in the run game, I mean, he's at best a guy that will get in front of somebody. I have one clip of him run blocking, and we'll see it. Like, it was a solid block, but like not an ass kicking thing, and it was probably the best one that I watched of him. And like, you look at his just looking at his PFF grades, like he has decent marks in pass protection, and then his like run blocking is like is just like slightly above average, and it showed up on tape where like he's just not like an ass kicker in the running game that I think you really can rely on. But interesting dude in pass pro, that's for sure. But yeah, not the strongest guy in the world, I don't think either. We'll see one of his issues in pass pro is he doesn't have a great anchor, and we'll see that pop up. So
okay, yeah, I mean, well, hopefully he can hang in preseason, because he doesn't have that run strength and that play strength that you're talking about. I mean, he's going to get beat up, and he's going to get exposed, and he's going to be out of this team real quick. So, I mean, it's just the way it is. But I mean, pass pro is something that teams do want, though. I think some teams, it depends on how Telesco and the coaching staff feels. They might overlook somebody who can do better in pass pro, and they're not as good in the run game. But I don't know if AP will, sign off on that, if they kind of want to do that, since they want to have a mentality of having, a smash mouth football team.
Yeah, and I think that's probably part of where when we like really break it down, and especially with after getting on a guy like Andres Pete as a potential backup, where Coker's probably going to be a practice squad guy at that. Get him some reps and get him some NFL experience, and obviously in practice, and then on top of it, get him in the weight room and improve his strength, and then kind of see where it goes from there. Because he does have some like pretty good measurables. I think he's 6'7", 315 with 34-inch arms. So, and again, I got one clip on here where you see his arm length really kind of shine a light. That kind of got me excited a little bit about him too. So definitely has some traits, and like checks a few boxes, and just kind of a matter of getting that one part of his game down, because that's going to be a big issue for him as far as when I project him in the preseason that I'm going to be looking for.
All right, cool, man.
So yeah, I'm going to start with some run blocking, and again, I actually did a breakdown for him on Silver and Black Prize. So maybe put that in the comment section. That has a little bit more. It has a few more clips on it. Again, with the unfortunately with the broadcast stuff, we got to cut it down a little bit, but again, this is about as good as it gets for him as a run blocker. And if you're sitting there watching this, why are we hyping this play up? Because trust me, this is about the best I could do. And I will say the context of the situation here, it's second and short for TCU. I think they only need like a yard or two. And like, we're going to see him here on the backside of the zone. Like, he does a pretty good job with decent pad level. I mean, about even with our helmet's about even with the defender here. Hands tucked inside. Keeps his feet moving, and he gets some displacement. Like you can even see too here, he ends up in the perfect position to get this hole for this running back to kind of put his head down and again move the chains. But again, this is about as good as it's going to get. And you can even see here, like, this is part of the issue. He doesn't have great grip strength, and guys are able to disengage from his blocks. And even on this rep, that again is probably one of the better ones I watched. Like, the defender ends up escaping from him a little bit. Again, not a huge deal because we already picked up the first. But yeah, that's about as good as it gets from him as a run blocker. Moving on to pass pro. This is what I was talking about in the intro. The anchor sometimes, and I think it's more laziness from him. Like, yeah, we can't get put on our back too. Is like, if you watch, like, I mean, even in his stance, he's kind of pretty straight-legged. Like, there's not a whole lot of knee bend. But then at the point of contact, like, this is just, we can't have this. Khalil Mack is going to eat this dude alive if he ended up on the field, right? Like, you can't be blocking the NFL edge rushers with your butt pretty much as high as can be. I mean, he doesn't even have his feet in the ground. And then on top of it, too, he can't even re-anchor. And again, we can't get put on our back. Not a good position to be on the football field. So,
nope.
but we'll see a little bit later. Like he has a rep where he has to get his pads down, and he does it. So I think it's a little bit of a laziness aspect to him that I think he can definitely work on. But moving on to some of the positives, this is what I was talking about a little bit in the intro, just with him and his get off. Here he's going to be going up against a wide 7, a wide 9 technique, whatever you want to call it. And I do like his initial footwork. Uses a nice little 45-degree set. Like you can see by step 1, 2, he's done a perfect job of giving himself positioning to defend against an inside move, splitting the pass rusher's crotch with the outside foot, so that if this guy goes inside, he's there to be able to wash him inside, or if he stays outside, you can just ride him on the high side of the rush there. Again, nice little rep here. Cut down the space, use those long arms, and then push it by. The one thing I did want to point out, and you might have noticed this, he does have a tendency to give up the edge a little bit. He stops his feet, or they slow down a little bit when he makes contact, and that occasionally would come back to bite him. Where he kind of I think against a guy that has good bend in the NFL, he's going to take that inside arm, re-rip, and be able to turn and at least put some pressure on the quarterback here. So again, another thing he has to work on, but for the most part, in pass pro, he's pretty clean. See another rep here. Again, good job getting out there and reducing that space in a position to defend against an inside move and can stay against the outside move. This is the one where his long arms really come into play. Backs this up. You can see, right at the point of contact, boom. He's making the first significant contact, and you can kind of see it a little bit here. I'll back this up and play it again. If you watch the pass rusher's head and shoulders, it's a nice jarring him back. And then on top of it, this dude from Texas, there wasn't much he could do because the Coker is able to lock him out, use those long arms to his advantage. And he's trying to work a move. He's trying to be able to get his hands involved in the pass rush, but he just can't. Again, 34-inch arms. That's why we care about arm length right there for an offensive tackle, or part of the reason why.
Yeah.
All right. So this last clip, another big strength of Coker's is he's really good at picking up stunts. Here he's going to be going up against Texas, and this is the rep I was talking about where he actually does get his pads down because he's going against 360 to 400 pound T'Vondre Sweat.
Yeah.
So you better drop your ass if you're going up against this dude. And I mean, this time, if we compare this to that first rep that we watched, look how much lower he is.
Yeah.
At this point, Sweat's 6'4" and he's 6'7". So he's got a few inches on him, and now he's actually lower than him, using his hands a little bit more aggressive. So that's where I'm coming at, where I'm I almost feel like it's a laziness thing, and he just gets maybe a little tired or something in games, but he will drop his butt and pick up and drop the anchor a little bit when he absolutely needs to.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing, going back to what I was talking about in the beginning, you can kind of see his instincts a little bit here on the stunt. As soon as this guy starts working inside, he sees them. This guy hasn't even technically cut inside, and you caught that a little bit. You watch his head, immediately gets his eyes inside, and that's part of what helps him pick up the stunt, because again, you don't want to get cut off guard by T'Vondre Sweat with that big load coming through. Pause right there for a second. And then on top of it too, leads to a nice little clean pocket for TCU to get a big play. So yeah, again, hopefully maybe we'll drop maybe we'll send over the Coker article to get a little bit more detailed of a breakdown if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, definitely a guy who has some things to like in pass pro. Good, I think, initial footwork and initial quickness off the line, and those long arms too, and obviously has some IQ to pick up some stunts. Just a matter of can he be more consistent with his feet in pass pro, and then two with his anchor in that part of the game.
Yeah, it just seems like play strength is just a problem for him.
Kind
of he's got to get stronger if he wants to play in the NFL, because especially if he's getting pushed over by college guys like that. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to put on some strength to be a better, NFL player, right? And kind of make this team. You kind of see why he went undrafted too, and that's what I'm kind of learning. I mean, Tulu Griffin made no sense. I don't understand Tulu Griffin, but these two, these two guys, they make more sense in my head, right? Why they went undrafted, right? So, but maybe there's the upside. Maybe he comes out there and just kills in pass pro, has a great preseason, and try to sneak into his practice squad. I don't know about making his team. I feel like the line. There's so many veterans. I mean, the veterans just have to be like absolutely terrible, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there could be an opening for the 4th spot if he ends up beating up like a Dalton Wagner, right? Because he's technically their 4th tackle right now behind Pete.
Yeah.
So also a guy that was a year ago was an undrafted free agent. So there's a chance, but yeah, I think you're right. I think he's probably a little more destined to be a practice squad guy.
Yeah, at best. All right, guys. Quick commercial. All right, we're back, and now ready to get into some Raymel.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so let's check out some Raymel Keyton here from Tennessee. Right here, here's him working against number 3. I believe that's Lassiter. You see, this is a good route. This is also talking about that there is some wiggle to him here. So you see him, he's going outside, right? But he's going to set up going out. Just a quick little look right there. He gets open, but the ball doesn't come to him. So, so there are some elements there of him being able to run some routes. And if there maybe is a bigger route tree, maybe he can add some, maybe find a way onto this football team, especially if he goes out there with preseason and he wins some one-on-ones and stuff like that. Just because you can see there's a little bit of wiggle there. So here is him just running past number 3. And what I like here is the arm over, right? So you see him try to get his arm on him right there, but he gets a little arm over, which gives him the separation, kind of knocks that guy off balance, and he's wide open, right? Of course, he doesn't get the football, which is fine, but it's a good route, though. It's a good route. Be able to fight through that. I mean, because he's open. That's separation. I mean, if the ball's out here, he's running. That's a touchdown. This guy really doesn't have a shot to stop that. And he's in panic mode. He probably wouldn't even turn around. You have to catch it if it's underthrown. It's a good route.
I also like too. He's really good at stacking the cornerback. Like he does that here as soon as he passes him, gets back on his track to give his quarterback the line. A nice some open space to throw the ball to.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It might be make him a better deep threat than his speed might be because there's some nuance to it.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Got another one here. So another one. Good release. See the arm over. That's the same one. All right, here we go. So here he gets Terry on Arnold. Now you can see how physical he is, right? Here Arnold's trying to get his hands on him, finds a way to get separated from him, and then he's able to high point that football right there versus a good corner, bring that ball in for a first down. So Terry Arnold can't be touching him this long in the NFL. I mean, let's keep it real.
Yeah.
But that's fine. But I like the way the play strength he has. He's able to fight through it and get separation, right? Because I mean, like he didn't run past Arnold really. He just kind of just beat him at press. He just it was more physical than he was at the point of attack, and then he's able to high point that football like that. So it's a nice play. But you can just see how physical he is. He's a physical guy. He's a tough dude, right? You see it right here one more time. Him high point that football. I mean, gets a good corner, strong hands right there. All right, so here's another go route. Like this is a double move here. All right, this one I think is for Texas A&M, I believe.
Yeah.
So and you see, I mean, he's got it. He stacked it again. Just like Matt was talking about, getting back on that line, and it's just, of course, just a bad throw. But you see an element of a guy who can run these deep routes. I mean, because for him to even how big he is, for him to kind of bend like that, and then that arm over again, get that separation and stack him. He knows how to run a go route. I mean, that's what he does best.
Got plenty of experience at it.
Yeah, for sure. That's all they did. All right, so here he is running a comeback. I think you were talking about this one, Matt. He had come all the way back to it. I don't know if this is him or Joe Milton.
I think part of it's the ball late. But I do like that he comes back to the ball, but we don't need to come back 6 yards to it. Like he probably could have gotten away with just 2 or 3, and made a catch. But that does kind of help him set up like the little yardage after the catch to pick up the first down.
Yeah. And just for how big he is, it's going to be a little bit stiff. It's not going to be like that fluid. I mean, if he was that fluid, he would be getting drafted. So
True.
you still see, he's able to bend for his size a little bit better than most.
Yeah.
But I mean, he does have pretty good yak ability too. I mean, if he caught a short pass, it's rare,
Yeah.
but you do see some yak ability. So I mean, there's some things that maybe that could be unlocked just because Tennessee's offense is just redundant. So it's the same thing over and over and over again. All right, so here's another one. Kind of see like this was a little bit better. Be able to stop on the dime a little bit. Like I said, he is a bigger guy, so he's gonna have to take a lot more for him to stop. But I think he did a good job on this one. Comes back to that football again. Like I said, nice yak ability there.
Yeah.
So I mean,
the thing I like too is go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
I was gonna say the thing I like about him too, like especially on these curl routes, is he sells the vertical. Like you watch Terry on Arnold, how like Arnold starts to open and turn to run. Like that was pretty consistent. Where like where he pushes them vertical and then hits the brakes real quick or quicker for a big guy.
Yeah, I was just watching this yak ability. They didn't throw in one screen. I feel like there's some part of his can be unlocked a little bit too. So I was talking about here. So a couple of things I saw here. We talk about how physical he was, but I think when it comes to like shorter routes and it's not a go route and he's not trying to get deep, I don't think he fights as hard to get into this route because I feel like this was just a little bit lazy. I don't know what he's doing here. He kind of just like gave up. I think he's supposed to go in and out. Maybe Arnold's pissed from the earlier play. I don't know, but there's nothing there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
like it's like you already gave up on the play. Yeah, just so. I mean, if guys can't get physical with him, it's like shorter routes. I mean, it feels like he was like, I'm going to do a go route. If I don't run a go route, I'm not going to get the football. So it felt like that at times. So here's one where I talk about maybe he could sell the route a little bit more here, right? Because that guy's all over this dig. So you can see that the route running needs to be just the nuances of it. Because I think he has the wiggle of it, but I don't know how these guys are coached too. Because he just didn't put anything into this, and it felt like that guy knew exactly what he was about to do.
He rolls into this cut too.
So it's just not clean all the time. So that's what it's a little bit one dimensional there. All right, last one here. Kind of see this one. So and then we talk about him being able to stop, right? But then he does a good job of getting the football. I mean, that's open if it's a good quarterback, right? So you kind of see the ability to run these curls because I mean, this is a good quarterback. He's open, right? Good quarterback. Boom, the ball's out, right? The ball's coming out, and he does a good job of coming back to this ball. It's a catch.
Yeah,
with a good quarterback. With an average quarterback, that's not a catch because he needs enough separation, right? Like, in the NFL, this is good enough, but if like it's your it's a backup quarterback or something like that, it's not good enough. So it's just in between there, right? But I mean, he does do a good job of stopping though, so it is pretty impressive with that. But I mean, that's basically him. That's basically it. So yeah, yeah. I mean, there's an upside on the deep ball. Really, there is some upside. Like I said, he's a good route runner there. You just wish that more of those nuanced moves he's doing would go into the other routes and see him develop there. But we'll see how he looks in preseason. I think he might do pretty well in the one-on-ones that he might impress some people, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I think like kind of like what you're saying, like the frustrating thing is he does it fairly well at the line of scrimmage. Like if you go back and like if Mark, you get a chance to like watch his game against Florida,
yeah,
like he had a bunch of really nice releases where like he was like setting guys up, giving them like a nice little jab step, and like there was one corner who was falling all over the field, falling for his jab steps and whatnot, and like he had one rep. I think I shared it on Twitter. Maybe we can link it in somehow too. Like where like he set this dude up dirty on this like little little like goal line fade and ended up scoring a touchdown on it. So there's definitely some quickness to him that I think is unique for a big receiver. He is 6'3", I think, pushing 200 pounds, like pretty close to it. I think like 190, 195 floating around there. So he's a bigger dude. And I mean, you showed the rep against him against Arnold where that helped him out and helped him come down with the catch and whatnot. And he actually has some quickness to him, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't really show up down the field. And like you were talking about, and like his change of direction, like on the curls, they were fine, but for whatever reason, when he goes to make 90 cuts, they're super rounded. Few of those too, like if you notice, like he was drifting out on that too, and like inviting the cornerback back into the play. So definitely an uphill battle for him, but he's an intriguing dude just with his size and his ability to win at the line of scrimmage to me.
Yeah, because when you're that size and you go into the line of scrimmage and you know how to stack guys, I mean that's what I'm talking about. You can run the deep ball in the NFL because a lot of his, Devontae Adams is not the fastest guy in the world, right? And he'd be beating guys on the field. And I mean, if you can do that and know how to stack guys and stack corners, you can find a way to make it happen in the NFL. So that's what he's got to learn. But it's just more, what else can he do? And then it's on film. It's like you didn't get a lot of anything else. Like they just ran like 3 routes. And unless you got like tons of speed and got some awesome guys, I mean, it's hard for me to say you could consistently win that way, anyways. But they just ran like 3 routes, man. So we don't know what he is as a route runner, really.
It's funny too, because like in a era of the transfer portal where like you like almost respect guys that like just stay at one program and stick it out. Like I kind of watch him and like hear you talking about it. I'm like, yeah, I kind of wish he would have transferred because he took a few years to get on the field at Tennessee. Yeah. Josh Heupel comes in and then like his route trees legitimately like 2 routes or 2 or 3 routes. So I wonder what he would have done if he would have gone to another school where he could have like maybe played his strengths a little bit more, because they tried to play him like he was Jalen Hyatt, but Jalen Hyatt runs like 4.2, 4.3, and and could win couldn't we were talking about like before in the intro, like he was beating guys deep, but he's beating guys deep that run 4.5, 4.6. Like he's not the true deep threat that I feel like they were trying to make him be, which again, he's just not. Like that's not quite his game. He's not Jalen Hyatt, that's for sure.
Exactly. All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Went over OTAs, Raymel Keyton, and Andrew Coker. So go ahead, check that out, guys. We'll probably be back on Wednesday with another show, and then so be on the lookout for that. We're getting back to the NFL now. This is enough of the rookies here. We give some more NFL, so we'll figure out what we're gonna do, and then we start the revving up for the season. Here we go, guys. Mini camps coming June 11th to the 13th. Am I correct?
Yeah, mandatory mini camp. I think we got one more week of OTAs, right? I think that's this week. Yeah, this week, like 2-3 more OTAs, something like that, and then mini camp coming up, and then breaking for the summer, man.
Yeah, breaking for the summer. So we'll be back, guys. Make sure, like I said, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys check out a shirt. Like I said, we'll put that in the link in the bio as well. So go ahead, check out and support the channel. You get a shirt. Shout out whoever bought that one. I don't know who you are, but shout out to you. And let's get it. So I'll see you guys later. We're out of here.
See ya.
Oh, I forgot. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe.